Hello everyone. I'm Somesh, and today I have invited Ashutosh Singh with me to know about Sweden. So over to you, Ashutosh. Can you please introduce you to our audience?
Yes, of course. Thanks for inviting me, Somesh. And my name is Ashutosh Singh, and I'm working as a hydrogeologist here in Sweden. And I've been living in Europe for the last, let's say, close to 18 years now. And I was living first in Germany, and then I moved to Sweden for a job. So that's like a small introduction from my side.
Yeah, thanks Ashutosh for introducing yourself. If someone who is looking to move from India to Sweden, first, what are the first steps that someone need to be taken care of in terms of finding job, basically?
If you are talking about my field, because I'm working as a hydrogeologist, mainly in the construction industry or the mining industry, so I would like to say that I got the job directly over here, but I can share with you, of course, experiences of few other people whom I met at my previous companies, and most of them were actually working already in the jobs which was sent to India. It's like the outsourced job, and it was mainly like the CAD jobs or something. So usually engineers in India, they work with some sort of CAD jobs. The CAD is like the computer-aided drawing jobs, which is very common in the construction industry, the mining industry. And this is how actually they came over here, because they came for training, because they wanted to, they were invited to learn how things in Sweden work, because CAD is actually like a big thing, so they have to learn how things in Sweden.
Okay, Ashutosh, the next question from my end is like, if someone want to actually come to Sweden, so can you tell us, is there companies who can sponsor visa, especially in your field, and who can offer the visa and help them in the visa process?
Yes, I have heard from people, because honestly I will say like it's almost all the huge companies in Sweden, at least, like the biggest consultancies, construction consultancies over here, they can provide, and they do provide visas, and they sponsor visas for people in India. And it will be, if you're talking about the big construction companies, it will be like WSP, Sweco, and then Avery, Rampol, and then there are a few others. And the market is evolving very fast, so it's always there are few companies, or there are always companies which try to actually outsource their jobs to India, these CAD drawing jobs, and slowly also like the design jobs and everything. So this is how you can actually start working in India first, and then you can switch over to Sweden.
Okay. And my next question to you, Ashutosh, is like, how much someone should ask when he is getting an offer from Sweden, like in terms of salary? What do you think like the minimum salary should be?
So right now I will say like, okay, first of all, because it can be, this is one problem I have actually seen very often, that people, when they apply for a job in Sweden, they have very less idea about the salaries. So minimum salary should be at least like, you should be getting more salary than what is specified by the Migrationsverket or the migration agency over here, which is going to approve your visa. Otherwise, it can get tougher in the coming years for you to hold the visa, or it might be like in the later stage when you're about to get like a permanent residentship, then it can create some troubles that you do not have enough salary. So I will say like around, right now it should be around 35 or 36 should be a good salary to start with. Of course, it depends upon your family situation. If you think you have a wife and kids to support, then you will need more. So you can talk about like 43, 45, something like that. Yes.
So you think like 45 should be a salary that someone should be asking when he is seeking an opportunity in this field that we are talking about?
Yes. It's I will say it's not only that people actually who have worked in India, and when they make a move to Sweden, I guess that they kind of employers will not have any problems to give them a salary of like 45,000 crowns every month. So that should be good enough salary.
Okay. And like the next question that I want to ask is like, and maybe our audience want to know like, what are the living expenses there? Like if someone will start with 45,000, how will it be a good salary? Probably with a family, maybe 4-person family, or like 2 kids and like 2 adults. So will it be a good salary?
It's not exactly the perfect salary to live upon, but of course you will grow with time over here. So as soon as you learn Swedish and you start attending meetings, and then you show to your employer that you can actually take care of the job completely independently, then there is a huge scope that you can go up in salary But for 45,000, it can be a hard situation. I mean to say, you cannot go to fancy restaurants or something. But of course, when it comes to like living expenses, so I guess like 45,000 should cover it. That's not a bad sign. But if you're expecting like a huge savings every month and traveling to India a couple of times, so that can be a bit hard, I would say.
Okay, I think that answer my question. Ashu, my next question is like I heard about it like you get like these public benefits like for kids and the health benefits. So is that also the part of the salary, or it is provided by the government also only?
The thing is, salary is just for the employee. And when you're talking about expenses like if there are any social benefits, so social benefits is given by another organization, which is like a social benefit organization, which is called like the Försäkringskassan over here. And over there, they actually provide with these kind of expenses. So of course, when your kid goes to the preschool or to the kindergarten and to the school, then their education is completely free and their care is completely free. And then depending upon if you want to leave them for some extra hours, then you might have to pay a few hundred crowns from your salary. But otherwise, the expenses, at least from the school and preschool or kindergarten point of view, you will not have any troubles, at least in Sweden. You can just forget about these things. There won't be any troubles. Did it answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Ashutosh. And maybe our audience also want to know what about like public health benefits that the government supports. Is that you have to take care of those things by your own, or like you get support from the government?
Regarding the health, I would say like the health structure is it is called the care. It is called vård in Swedish. It's called like the care or the healthcare system here in Sweden, and it's quite good, I would say. And because my son, he already had few troubles, and then it was like everything was taken care of by the government. So, and if you get sick, I mean to say, if your son or your kid gets sick, I guess still the healthcare is completely free. But if you get sick, then it might be like you have to pay a nominal amount of 200 crowns every time you make a doctor's visit. And it can be a bit more if you go to the emergency. But overall, the thing is, they usually do not give lots of medicines in Sweden. So they always focus upon just that you just relax and recover yourself. So the doctors are not very keen of unnecessarily giving. And this is something I have seen amongst the expats over here, that they have kind of a confusion trying to understand this thing.
So if I understood it correctly, so for kids, it's you don't have to pay anything because it is free. But for adults, you might have to pay some fees in the hospital. Is it right?
I'm not 100% sure about it. But even if you have to go to the doctor for your kids, then it will again be the same amount. It will be like 200 crowns or 150 crowns, something around that. So I will say like at least from the healthcare point of view, you should not consider yourself. Any expat actually, or any person trying to move to Sweden, they should just think that, okay, these things are quite well taken care of. And it's taken care of because of the taxes what you pay, which are quite high in Sweden. But you will never feel that you have been robbed. It's more like they provide you with a good healthcare. And you will see the benefits actually what you get out of the taxes what you pay. So in that sense, I would say like it's a very nice country to move to.
Okay. That you already answered the question. My next question but maybe I can ask it again. So what do you think? Like, what are the challenges that someone should be prepared for while moving to Sweden?
Yes, the challenges are actually on. So actually, it's always there are few new things what actually you encounter when you move to Sweden or Europe, and then it will be kind of a cultural thing where you are expected to behave in a certain way. And usually the people over here in Sweden, they do not understand these kind of things from the very first day. But after you have stayed over here for a while, then they expect you to understand the cultural norms. And if you do not get it, then it can be a bit frustrating or confusing for you. That why people are just might be staring at you or might be feeling uncomfortable around you. So for example, like if you're being served, if there is a cake in of your office, it's very common to have a kitchen in your office, and then you cannot just take the last piece completely. So you always have to take half of it, even if it does not matter how small it is. You just have to take half of it. And this is something what you will learn over here. It is called the half principle. So Hilton's principle. So you just cannot take the whole of it. And it does not matter. You can even just try to just cut it down to molecular level. So, but they expect kind of. And if you really want to take the whole of it, then you will have to ask everyone around. That is it okay if you can just eat. These these things are kind of a social norm, what people expect you to know, but of course they are not going to force upon you the very first day. And then the second thing is also like there is a queue system, and does not matter how much people have to wait over here, might be even for hours. People respect the queue. They respect boundaries. Then it can be that you cannot talk about religion with each and every person. So this is something which is very private, and people mostly it is avoided in discussions unless and until you're like very, very close to people who are Swedes over here. So that's when you can talk about these issues. But of course, it's not a conversation starter. Definitely try to avoid it. And then there can be few things more. It's about the traffic. It's about how you drive, how you wear things. And I mean, so you cannot wear very bright clothes at work. You have to be very simple. Over here, people come to work in jeans and t-shirt, which is absolutely fine in this Swedish work environment. But if you're thinking about like a very flashy t-shirt or very flashy jeans, so this is something which is avoided in the workplace environment. So there are few things, I cannot describe actually everything, but I will say like you will learn it with time. And Swedes are very kind of very, how to say, very nice people. They will just tell it to you very softly. After a long time, if you do not understand, then they will just put it to you very softly. This is the way things are.
Yes. So my next question is like, you said like if you know Swedish language. So I just want to know like if someone want to learn Swedish, how when someone is moving to Sweden, how they can start learning Swedish? Is there some kind of institutes that someone can go to and try to learn Swedish?
Yes. Yes, that's another thing. That's a very good point actually what you have asked, Samesh. It's mostly that this is something what you do not have to spend your money upon, because this is again taken care of because of the tax money what you're paying. So once you pay this, I mean, so once you have the social insurance over here, you can go with the social insurance number to the SFE, which is called Svenska för invandrare. It is called the Swedish for immigrants, and you can register over there and you can go for classes. The classes are usually 2 times every week, and this is for free, so you can attend it. Of course, try to be regular with these kind of classes. But then these classes are just not alone going to teach you everything. So you have to continuously put in effort to learn language yourself. And as everyone knows that learning a language is a lot of things. Writing, speaking, listening. Of course, there are few things you will have to learn. So you just continuously talk to people and focus on that. And do not feel shy about that you're going to speak wrong Swedish. Just say, and people will be there to correct you. And people are very kind and generous actually. They do not actually even correct you. So they just want you to speak as much as possible. And after a while, if they see, or if they mind something that, okay, this is a mistake which you are repeating very often, in that case, they're going to tell you very politely that and they ask you actually that if, can I suggest you something for your Swedish? And then they give you tips how to improve speaking and listening skills and so on.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, but it's fun to learn Swedish. Learning another language is always.
Thank you for answering the question. You mentioned like, someone can learn Swedish with some of the institute, like one of the institute that you mentioned, SFA, which is free for immigrants. But do you think it will add value when someone will learn Swedish in terms of job search?
Yes, of course, at least in the field where I'm working. So now we are talking about completely the civil engineering field, where you have to go to the field and you have to talk to technicians, and the technicians can be old, the technicians can be young. If there are young technicians, geotechnical engineers, or it might be like just what's it called, with a boring machine if there is an engineer, because young people usually do speak English, but if it is like an old person or a person from the countryside, then it might be they can express themselves much better in Swedish. And when it comes to something, and it comes to work where it is a bit hard to explain, then they will just tell you they will just ask you in Swedish. So it's very, very beneficial, at least in my field, that try to learn Swedish as soon as possible. Just talk to people, attend meetings in Swedish, and it is not very hard. Let me tell you this thing. It's not a very hard language. You will just learn it.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Another question is like, what should be someone prepared for the paying the living expenses, like in terms of food and also the accommodation? What are the minimum expenses that you think should be enough?
Yes, good that you asked. So when it comes to the rent, because in the beginning you will have to rent a place, and then the rent can be, if you're talking about a family of four, like the husband, wife, and two kids, then it can be close to, let's say, between 12,000 and 16,000 or 20,000 for the rent, and then for each and every person you can count up to between 1,500 to 2,000 pounds for the food, and then 1,000 pounds for travel. So it can vary between, let's say, 12 and 20. So something close to between 20,000 to 28,000 you can expect.
So I can consider it as half of your salary, right? Almost.
Then it's after tax. So if you're getting a salary of 45,000, it might be you will land somewhere between 33,000, 34,000, I guess.
Okay.
So yes, you will make small amount of savings with this kind of salary. But as I told you, that the more you work over here, the more time you have spent over here, and you start speaking Swedish, that's when you can start earning. And of course, in the meanwhile, your wife is also going to get the jobs. So there'll be, instead of one person working, there will be like two people working. And of course, I will suggest that your wife or your partner actually also starts to learn Swedish as soon as possible. It helps out.
So you mean to say, like, when someone will get the job, the spouse can also work here? That is legal, right?
Yes. At least for the time being, I will say, like, the spouse also get, the partner's spouse or wife, they also get the work visa, and also they can learn for free Swedish.
Okay.
At least this is how it is right now.
Yeah, I think Ashutosh, thanks for answering all the questions. Our audience is really happy to know about your experience. I would say, like, really thanks for joining us and giving answer to all the questions that I asked. It will help our audience to know more about Sweden and also probably finding a job overseas. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for having me, Somesh. Thanks, and have a nice evening.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you.